Hello crafty friends and welcome to the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel. This week we have a very crafty, chatty video for you guys. We're going to talk about summer
crafting.
Summertime sadness. So I know many crafters get sad during the summer because as adults we don't have that summer vacation usually to just craft. You know, that's what I used to do when I was a kid. Mom used to buy.
Oh, plus it's hot. And people don't want to craft well in a lot of places. And there are some places I know where it's nice and cool and cold even now. But on the northern hemisphere, most of us are very hot. So crafting isn't their first choice of pastime, maybe?
Yeah, I don't even know what would I call a first choice of pastime in the summer.
Maybe we get lazy in the summer?
You know, I don't like to use the term lazy, but I do think that it's weird because I feel that summer and you might disagree, but I feel that summer and winter share that in common where like your energies decrease because it's extreme levels. You have the extreme heat of the summer or you have the extreme cold of the winter, and it's just
both of the extremes react the same.
Yeah, it's just like we wilt.
True.
So in order to combat summertime sadness and things like that, we decided that while Mom was here we would do some things that brought us summer joy. And Mom, what have we done?
Well, partially some of it because of choice, and some of it because I don't know why, but I was on a thing this summer where I wanted to change a little bit up my wardrobe, wear more dresses, and so, but I kept putting them in the dryer. And the fabric that they used to make these summer dresses kept shrinking in the dryer, and so I had to keep thinking about ways that I could still use what I bought, but improve the fit, update the fit to what the disaster that I had formed with the dryer. So most of my time I think I've been dedicating it to getting ideas, finding ideas, looking for ideas, and actually executing those ideas of trying to get the clothes that I have recently purchased to fit a little bit better.
I avoid putting a lot of things in the dryer because of that, especially handmade items, unless I do want them to shrink because I made them too big, or because I accidentally felted my husband's socks and now they fit me but they're a bit big, so I might as well just felt them again and see if they fit better. That is intentional.
But you've always shown me that clothes will shrink in only one direction.
Yeah.
So for the most part, it's length and it's hardly ever width. So if something doesn't fit you width-wise, you're not going to do anything by putting it in the dryer except ruin it more.
Yeah.
But another thing that I always wait until I come with Elizabeth to do is to thrift. And so I much prefer, because I know that maybe in a little while from now I'm not going to be wanting to wear the dresses again, I prefer to go and find a value price for a piece of garment or piece of clothing that someone hasn't used to its fullness and give it a new life.
Yeah.
And so I always wait to come with Elizabeth because she has a very good eye for seeing thrifted items that can be put to new use. And so yeah, I always, and although I've been here come and go, we haven't had time alone because this time my husband is not here, and so we don't have to worry about where does he want to go, what does he want to do today.
Judgment.
So,
we don't have to worry about the judgment of where you're going, why you're doing
or
this.
the boredom of why do you want to be here for so long, and why do you have to do inventory everywhere that you go, and not understanding that having a good eye for thrifting comes from going through it very slowly and developing your thrifting muscle or your thrifting, what would you call that, your eye, your thrifting eye, or or
guess discernment, right? You want to discern what you're buying and you're actually still getting a good quality for good price versus you're getting it because it's cheap and you're probably just going to use it once and then never again. Because when I first started thrifting, I fell under the, oh my God, this is cheap, I'm going to buy it all. And then I ended up returning it to the thrift store anyway, like donations, because I didn't like them, I didn't like the fit, and I never got around to adjusting the fit. But Mom actually was very good about buying something and then just adding the crochet to adjust it. Did you?
Well, the other thing was that things get overlooked.
Yeah.
When you don't have a discerned eye, you overlook things. And so sometimes I can go with you and someone will have perfectly overlooked something that could be quite valuable in our wardrobe or updated or like put away for Halloween, for a Halloween outfit, or put away for Christmas in July type of
Christmas
thing.
in
So
July.
we've been doing all of that.
Yeah, we did. We were very lucky actually. We went to one of my favorite thrift stores because I always think they're very discerning with the items that they accept. So you always find clothes that have minimal wear usually, or at least if they are worn items, they'll be pieces like linen, which actually get better with age and things like that. So for Christmas,
if they're treated correctly.
If they're treated, yeah. So for Christmas in July, so we went and they had 50% off all the Christmas decoration and sweaters. So we decided,
And they were already low price, but
Yeah.
the 50% was just an additional joy because we always try and come around Christmas time, we get our spirits back and we want to do pajama
ugly sweaters and
ugly
crochet
Christmas sweaters and pajama night and
Yeah.
all that, and then but we haven't looked for them during the year, and if you wait until Christmas to do that type of thing, you have to pay very big bucks for something that you'll only wear one night.
yeah.
So
So I guess that's one way of getting your crochet going, is just thinking that if I start now, this will be done by Christmas and I can use it by then. Or, like we did, purchase some holiday themed items. Well, mine's not really holiday themed, but it is
festive.
festive. Yeah, festive. So
I mean, the color is a neutral color, but
Yeah.
it's got all the blinkiness around the
yeah, I
can you see that? Around the neck, and it may seem to be very big, but Elizabeth is a tall, she has a long torso, and so even though it says 3X, this type of thing for her, it can be just an oversized
yeah.
sweater, and
So we decided not to purchase all the Christmas sweaters that they had.
we were controlled.
And since
And then we regretted it, but
yeah, we did actually. And then we texted my sister, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I didn't reply fast enough. I would have liked this sweater."
But
I'm
she
like,
was in a meeting, but then she said, but then we try and think about those things. Oh, well, you have a long torso, but she doesn't. And so, whereas this looks oversized on you, on her, she needs something cropped so we discern before we buy things, even at the thrift store. But, it takes time.
Yeah, and with that discernment, we also decided to make our thrifted Christmas items even more festive. So for this one, I'm thinking of doing some crochet Christmas trees and then sewing them around the cuff to just make it really extra festive. I think I can do that. I already have the yarn for it and everything. And yeah, it'll add a bit of weight. So I'm thinking of sewing fabric inside to help hold that together, but I'm very excited to do that probably in December because I leave things for the last minute. But yeah, it's actually pretty heavy sweater. But Mom, we went to Joann's to help.
Well, I got a blouse at where we got that one too, with the Christmas sweaters. Well, not a t-shirt kind of thing.
Yeah.
That can be used either as a t-shirt around the house or for sleeping. And so it's for my older daughter, but I'm going to bling it. So we had to go buy some bling because we didn't find any at the craft store. And so, those
the thrift store.
What do you call them? The little gems that you can glue on to something. So I'm going to bling it up, and then we'll save it for her for Christmas.
So the other,
Without knowing if we're going to be together for Christmas or not yet. But you can't wait to know those things because that's the idea. If she won't come, then I'll send it to her.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just wait until everybody decides on their Christmas or holiday plans, it'll be too late to get all these sales and you end up paying more.
Yeah, so for this, you know, what else you can do in the summer? Obviously, we talked about Christmas in July, but my mom mentioned just bedazzling.
Well, more like preparing for Christmas in July.
Bedazzling the shirt. Well, that required a trip to Joann's, of course. And while we were there, they had an extra 25% off all clearance, and they had a number of yarn on clearance. And I filled my cart, and then it took me about an hour to decide to leave it all behind because I got decision paralysis. Really, what happened was
Decision what? Decision what?
Decision paralysis.
Decision paralysis.
It's a thing.
That's what it's called now. Yeah, I know. I think I can understand it totally.
It's where you don't really know what to do. So
it's like when you start a new project. Decision paralysis. I don't know. I want to do this, but I don't want to start it.
Exactly. Well, I walked around the yarn store with it, and I really liked the colors. It was the Color Theory yarn from Two of Wands, her second yarn line with Lion Brand. They were clearing out some colors, and my biggest thing with it was that I know I have a lot of yarn in my stash. You guys have seen my stash, and I feel like I should sell that yarn because I'm not using it, and I do want to purchase other yarns for other projects. I found some really nice yarn for my husband. He's very wool sensitive, so I tend to actually buy acrylic yarn to make his sweaters because it's softer on his skin. Anyway, I left it all.
Well, she did ask me, but
Mom didn't help with the decision.
I try and stay on the sidelines for those decisions because I think they're very personal. But if you ask me now, I think she should have bought it.
Thanks.
Because they had an additional 25% off. I'm just calculating now, so.
I calculated my entire cart of yarn was $60.
Everything's gone with half of it.
Everything I had in my cart was $60, which was 2 sweater quantities of yarn. One for me in a beautiful mustardy honey color, and one for my husband in a bit of a gray, dark blue, like gunmetal blue. And then I had chosen a more gunmetal color to do the contrast ribs and things like that. And then I had...
That's what you had, basically.
Yeah, and I had 1 skein of linen yarn, but it wasn't enough to do anything. It was 246 yards. And that's, I guess that's another thing really, when you're a crafter and you're trying to get into the spirit of avoiding summertime sadness, you really have to plan ahead. And I also get paralysis when I start planning ahead because what if I don't feel like doing what I said I was going to do 10 days from now that day, you know? That might just be me.
So we didn't do that, but in our thrifting, we did decide on some things that we could fix out of the things that I shrunk. And how we could fix them. So
an example of that is that Mom bought a dress recently. And
well, actually, I was gifted it by my daughter-in-law.
Okay.
It's just one of those schmucks that you throw on top to hang around the house. But even though it was too short for me, so Clarissa will put up a video.
Yeah, much better because it's.
You're not going to be able to see it well here. But the idea was that it was too short, and I didn't want to tell her that, get her upset. So I immediately saw that I could probably add some length to it. But when I got here, Clarissa Beth, when I showed it to her, this is just so you can see the fabric, it's full of mushrooms. So Clarissa Beth said to me, oh, there's such a thing as a mushroom stitch. And I was like, really? And so I looked it up, and actually there's more than one mushroom stitch. There are several mushroom stitches, so I was able to do a hem in the mushroom stitch to add to the mushrooms that are already there. But unfortunately, this was a yarn that Elizabeth had brought to me from Japan, and I had brought the ball band with me. I guess I must have let it go somewhere.
I hadn't realized when we were in Japan that they were only 25-gram balls, because I'm used to when I see a ball of yarn, it's either 50, it's usually 50 grams, at least in the States. But in Japan it was 25 grams. So I brought one ball of each of the colors that I found nice, and it's 100% mercerized cotton, but it is chain plied fingering weight cotton. And I thought that was very interesting. So
what I needed 25 grams completely it took me to do the band across the front, bottom, and so I had to do the back in a different color. Which is not something that I would probably do if I were going to wear this out somewhere, but since I'm going to wear it to my liking, to my comfortability. Comfortability.
It's for comfort.
the degree of comfortness that you acquire in certain places, so then I didn't mind doing it half in one color and half in the other. So this is the Mushroom Stitch by Spider. What's the name of his channel?
Fiber Spider.
Fiber Spider is the channel, and you guys know that on my channel I have mentioned him several times.
He has really good tutorials.
He has good tutorials. Sometimes I wish the things would be written up. I could go a little bit faster, but I mean I get it. He's got a channel and he's got it monetized, so it's okay. So
hey, making that ad money is just getting harder and harder, and anytime I see somebody that's making like an actual productive in the sense that you can pay for groceries and your life living, is just like, yay, people can actually do this. But yeah, so we did find another dress that initially was going to be for me when we thrifted, but I have the hips, and the hips do not like to be constricted. So Mom ended up
washing it, putting it in the dryer, and making it too short for either of us.
Yeah.
So with this one of my plans is to crochet a pocket, and maybe put a pocket up there or down here. Well, it has pockets.
It has pockets.
So maybe one there, or I had a yarn here from the summer, if you remember, from the Big Twist yarn. So, and the color it's denim. So it goes pretty well with the two colors of denim that this one has. And so I think what I'm going to do is close it up at the bottom. So it's not open. I'll close it up, and then it'll still have buttons like a shirt dress at the top, but it's okay because I don't need to open it all the way up in order to get it on.
And then you can do granny square, or you can do whatever kind of stitch you want at the bottom to get a border.
And to get a border that's maybe a couple of inches.
I mean, that's all you need, yeah. A couple of inches here and there. I actually didn't, I don't have any.
What did we get this one for? This one was like for $2 or $3?
Yeah, it was $6, 50% off, so it was $3. And it's a nice denim dress, perfect for summer because it's very light.
Really cool, right?
Yeah. So while I didn't really find any items that I wanted to thrift flip, you guys know that I've done it before. I have videos of that on my channel if you want to check them out. But we've talked a lot, right, about just using stash and wanting to find use for the yarn that we've purchased, and wool takes lovely colors, and most hand dyers prefer to work with wool yarns. So I decided, well, if I can use fingering weight wool in a lacy stitch or with a big hook, I can wear a barely there top, which will be great for lounging and such. So all right, so I mentioned that I like to crochet, at least this year, tops, barely there tops. What do you like to crochet in the summer?
This year, I think I've been doing a little bit of that myself. I've been doing very open stitches and very lacy garments, always earrings with any leftover yarn that I get, and summer tops. I've mentioned before that I've been participating in one summer cal for the Vesuvius top by Sandra of Nomad Stitches, and so basically I just went with all the cottons. Yeah. I have to go back, and for us in Puerto Rico it'll still be summer, and there awaits me the very bulky weight sweater that I need to get done before September, so I'll have to tackle it next month. So some people are able to work like that, where they work planning ahead. So some people in the summer might be working on their autumn or their winter items, and like we went to stores today and they already have had up all the Halloween stuff.
40% off.
And 40% off.
I'm like, what? What? My Halloween, okay, Halloween has sort of crossed my brain because I was trying to plan content, but also I've had this amigurumi pattern in my queue for years. It's a little witch, and she's cute, and I love her.
Was that the one that Emma made?
Yeah, yeah. So it's the same pattern, and I've had it in my stash, and I want to make it. And there's always pumpkins.
Unless you work at amigurumi continuously or at least frequently, those are things you need to start early, because if not, they just like never get done. Like I've had Wednesday Addams in my amigurumi stash planned with purchased the yarn and everything since the movie came out. And now I'm thinking about Barbie and Halloween Barbie and how I'm going to pull that off for Halloween. And so, yeah, I mean, some of us work in the current season and some of us need to plan ahead because it's really hard to get things done when you need them.
Yeah. But then just all these options always gives me decision paralysis, and then I just end up reading a book because...
Well, I've been doing a lot of that. You guys got me stuck on the Vorkorsigan saga by Lois McMaster, and I've been an Audible. I've read 15 books and just started my 16th book. The saga has, I think, it has between 18, close to 18 books and some little novellas of 1 hour or of reading time. And so there are a lot of stuff in here. And I've just been down with the next, walking every day, listening to it at night, falling asleep listening to it.
Well, that's not my fault. I didn't recommend that. We just inserted the topic of sci-fi romances. And
I know, and I found it, and it's not a current, it's not something that's been written
recently.
It's not a recent publication. It's from the 1980s, 90s, up to 2008. So
the 1900s, huh?
It's pretty, but still, if you're in 2023, you think about 1980.
That was yesterday.
I mean, no, not for...
That was 10 years ago.
Ask a neighbor, a kid.
I don't know.
Who's 7 or 8 years old.
That was 10 years old. That was 10 years ago.
So, I've been doing a lot of reading, thanks to the Summer of Romance Cal, that got me into like this new line of topics of, what do you call them? Literary genres. And so,
I've been doing that too. I got a nice cell phone stand, but I actually use it for my Kindle so that I can put my Kindle there and I can crochet for like, I don't crochet and read unless I'm doing a simple stitch like a double crochet or a single crochet, but I will read a page and then crochet a couple stitches and then flip the page, kind of like that. And I actually, before the Summer Romance Cal, had not read sci-fi romances. So I did read one, The Iron Widow. I have mixed feelings about it. Not because it's bad or anything, it's just, guys, I've told you before, I'm in it for the happily ever after, and if there's no guarantee of that, I'm not reading the book. But I did find some quite saucy sci-fi romances.
Really?
I did, yeah. They're not sci-fi with a little bit of romance mixed in. They're romance with the sci-fi. I guess not even a little bit, because they do take place in alien planets, like outside of Earth. And they do deal with other species, and there's technology, and there's different vegetations and all that. So there is a sci-fi, but it's also
and space travel, and
saucy romance mostly. It's spicy.
Well, the Vorkorsigan saga doesn't have any. Like last year. Last year I really got into the romance.
The historical romance.
The historical saucy romance. But
I say.
this year, but it's been a joy. I've been having fun all summer, and so I mean, I say I've read 16, but the first 3 I read them twice. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
I have a couple of...
some things you just can't get enough of.
No, I mean, I understand that completely. I've been talking praises about the secret society of very irregular witches to anyone. I feel like I've joined a religious group about that book, and I'm just, do you have a moment to listen to why I love this very secret society of irregular witches? No.
Well, let me share my experiences and see if you would like to share them too. And
but I feel that books are very personal that way. You know, some you might greatly enjoy them, some you might not. Like, I first heard about the book from Emma of the Lulu Loves Crochet podcast, and she said it was fine. This is just a book, and I was like, I think I'm gonna like that because I know the type of books she generally likes, and so for her to say that book was just, it was fine, you know, it was an easy read to distract yourself, I was like, I'm gonna love that book just because. But yeah, we'll link the books we've been reading for you guys down below so you guys can have a little perusal there.
well, I'll be back next week at home, so I don't know if I still have a chance to do. I really want to do another project because characters. I mean, 16 books. You know how many characters have come and gone, and they're not all romance themed, but most of them are, and so. Yeah, I can still represent some of the main characters. I just need to find a project that I think will work and that I can get done in a couple of weeks. And that's something that you can look for when you have a saga of a lot of books, right? You can try and follow the characters and see what happens. And if I say so myself, Lois McMaster does a great job of bringing in a character and finishing it off. So you know it comes in and you know what happens to him at the end. Not necessarily killing it off, but she finishes their story, so that you're not waiting for more.
That's always
so
good.
And yeah, that's, I don't know if it's always good, if everybody looks for that, but it's something that I look for, I guess, because the mother and the grandmother in me always likes to see how do the kids end up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I understand that. But you know, really funny because looking at your vest, I'm looking at it and it's reminding me of a lagoon. And all I can remember is that in one of the glittery men, there's lagoons that they bathe in because they're thermal waters. And it reminds me of that right now. And I'm like, oh, yes,
I could use this one.
I could use that. But
this vest, by the way, Clara Smith made for me. And we made some footage earlier in the summer so that she can share with you. The vest was supposed to be for last Christmas.
Yes, it was supposed to be, well... No.
A Christmas present or the birthday?
No, it was supposed to be a Christmas present.
Okay.
I ran out of yarn, and then I just didn't know what to do.
And I really liked it because originally it was just in this blue color, and it looked really nice. So Clara Smith said, well, I have a second color that I can kind of work into it and do like kind of striping. And so she started, and I said, yeah, that looks good, I like it too. And so she continued. Slowly. Very slow. Of course, because she works, and she's a designer, she's got a lot of other things to do. But in my eyes, slowly.
I
am
going
to get that for my birthday?
You did.
Which was July, and I did. But the reason I got it for my birthday was because when I got here for Father's Day, I saw it and I hijacked it and I said, the only thing missing, because the knitting was done.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't have hijacked it if it had knitting to do. But the knitting was done. And so I said, but no problem, I can crochet a border on the neckline and crochet a border to the sleeves and even crochet a border to the bottom here. And so I did all that. I believe these are just single crochets. Of course, now with what I've learned from the Vesuvius cow, I could have done a lot better job.
You could have done the I-cord.
I could have done the I-cord edgings on this and it would look fantastic. At the bottom, instead of doing the normal single crochet in the back loop that I usually do, I did the camel stitch.
Camel stitch, yeah, when you do half double crochet in the third loop.
Is it half or? Yeah, half double crochet in the third loop. And this is going around?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the only
So
way
you
to
always,
get the camera
right, so you always have the third loop in the same place. You don't have to look for it. And so how many rows did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she'll give you a close-up on that so you can see what that looks like. But that's how I got to take this with me for my birthday, and I wore it for my birthday. It was just missing. I had to steam it. I steamed it over in Alabama, and I got a lot of compliments on it when I wore it.
I think it
because I wore it for my birthday all day.
It looks really nice, and it's actually a lot. You know, I think the length is good too. It hits you right at the waist.
It hits me. It's long enough because with a vest, it can't be too long before it starts looking weird.
Yeah, I agree.
So so this is okay to wear like in fall or even winter maybe with a blouse underneath, a long sleeve blouse. It'll work fine. And in the summer, probably without, you can just maybe put a spaghetti strap underneath.
In the winter time, you should get a top that has really like puffy sleeves so they can pop out of the, oh, it's going to look so cute.
But you only find those things in thrift stores because they're not easy to find.
Now I'm looking at that, I think if you were to do the same striping that I did in like black and white, it would be a great Wednesday Addams sweater.
Yes, most likely. And not too difficult.
No.
I mean, it took you a long time, but because you had to do it twice.
Yeah, but it wasn't a hard pattern. This is by...
There are some holes in it though.
Yeah. It's the Stockholm Slipover by Petite Knits. And she does have a very helpful tutorial, and I honestly don't think I would have been able to do the pattern if it wasn't for the tutorial, because the tutorial is, I think it's in Swedish, but it doesn't matter because you can clearly see what the person is doing. But they're telling you that the designer starts counting the stitches right from the one you slipped, and that wouldn't have been clear in the pattern, so I would have never gotten
the right stitch
count, and I would have fudged my way through. I, however, did fudge my way through this pattern because I am 100% convinced that I did not do the number of rows that she had you do for the neckline, but I also think that was to my advantage because
it would have been too wide.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Because I did single crochet, what students do 2 rows? But I do know that the first time I picked up, I decreased.
Yeah.
I didn't decrease a lot, but maybe 4 stitches because I was afraid it would be too baggy.
Yeah. So this vest is a joint effort.
So yes, and it is also, it combines knit and crochet, which is also always fun to...
I always love doing that. But speaking of, trying to represent things,
and it's always good to know that, I mean, you can learn something new. Like for me, knitting gets me very anxious, so it's always good to know that I have a fallback. That if I get to a point where I just can't do this anymore for some reason, and I've totally psyched myself out of it, because like everybody says, it's just stitches, but everybody's mind works differently, and so it's good to know that I can fall back on crochet to finish whatever's done. And sometimes it's more of going back to my comfort zone, but it can be done. And the end product will look fine and totally wearable.
Yeah. And crochet adds stability to your knits, so it's not anything out of this world to try and finish a knit project with crochet.
Yeah, well, it was good because the crochet would be thicker and denser, so it's in the right places because it keeps your sturdy neckline and your sleeve, your armhole opening, and at the bottom it adds weight so that the vest doesn't roll up on you. It hangs nicely, but the middle is very light-weighted because it's knit. And so I think it was a win. Did a good job.
And honestly, I just keep looking at this vest and it keeps reminding me of those. I'll put the name of the books because I honestly don't remember them. But you see, because it's got those little pops of neon, it kind of looks like the alien skin that's like glowing. Man, look at that.
My grandson kept trying to grab those pops. He thought they would come out, I guess.
Yeah. But speaking of projects that you started to like represent stories and things,
or that you didn't realize at the moment that it could have represented your story. There it is. I actually wish that I could have connected this with the Vorkosigan saga because I would have had another project.
Was there a lagoon anywhere there? Any
This, the worlds have been
plunder?
turned radioactively by bombs and things between the wars, so
Humans.
there are planets where there is even no water and no vegetation, so
How
no,
rude.
it really doesn't go.
Well,
And then sometimes there aren't any skies because they have fake domes.
that's depressing. I'm gonna go back to my cute romance, and it was very cute. And this one, I think it's called the Accidental Alien Brides series, and I liked it a bit more than. So in the first series that I read, the women are abducted, and it's kind of a very depressing thing because the aliens are running a slave trade basically with Earth women. So that was a bit of a depressive note. It's very fluffy once you get past that. But that beginning was like,
It would have turned me off.
yeah. So for this Accidental Brides, Earth has been invaded by aliens, and they fought off the invasion, and so now it's called the Earth Federation, and they are trying to trade with other alien planets to get better tech to better defend Earth. And so they sent a team of all women to this planet to make sure complete the deal that they did with this planet. Of course, they didn't tell the Earth women, they were military mostly, that they were sent there to marry these men because their species is dying out. And in the first book, the woman talks about acid snails, basically, and it connects perfectly to the project I'm working on, which is an acid green color. So this was my accidental second Summer of Romance Cal cast on, and this is the Friendship Has Lace Borders top, or it will be. Right now it's just a bunch of panels that need to be seamed together to form the Friendship Has Lace Borders top, which is a joint design of Chelsea from Knitting Tipsy and Molly May of Ponder and Ply. So you can do a knit version of it or a crochet version of it. Search the hashtag, people have done.
And it's on Ravelry,
Yeah.
so you can search it on Ravelry, and I think there are over 20 projects.
Yeah.
So you can see what each of them did to make it look different.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing Elizabeth and I have tried to, in our joint collaboration, in her projects, in her design
Yeah.
enterprise.
I don't know where you're going.
And your design work.
Oh,
I've tried
yes,
to
I always
emphasize that although your projects are might look one way for you because you like that style, and I've tried to take them and adjust them for a more elderly, maybe conservative. Not everybody's like me in their 60s, but if you are, then I just want to show you that you can take a project, for example, like this one. This one really has me thinking about making a version, because I'm now, as I said, I want to wear dresses, and some of the dresses now have because they're summer, have all the straps, and I could actually wear something like this over the dress and as a vest, and I think it would look pretty good, and I could be cropped, and that way it won't take so long to make.
Well, I have decision paralysis with this, and I think that's what we should call the episode. Decision paralysis in summer. Jeez, big in Korea. Because, so obviously Clarissa entered this just with 100 grams of yarn. And they're done. This is it. This is what 100...
They should have enough.
Yeah, 100 grams of fingering weight yarn was enough to do the waistband and one of the panels. Fine. I had already picked out yarn B for that. But yarn B is a crochet cashmere blend versus the merino, Australian merino blend, which is the chartreusey color. So my decision paralysis stems from the fact that this yarn is slightly thicker, to the point that I actually need 4 stitches less to reach the same measurement as my fingering weight wool yarn. So if I do those 4 stitches left, the top might look a bit wonky when I seam it all together, at least in the waistband. The side, the middle won't matter, but the waistband does. So my decision paralysis.
One side could look wider than the other.
Yeah, if I do the total number of stitches that I did for the green panel, one panel is going to be a lot wider than the other. Or I can just go with 4 stitches less, which is what I need, and then try to fudge it so visually it doesn't look like I had 4 stitches left. Less. So I think that's what I might do actually. Try to do a...
That's not my vote. Just, I want it evidenced on video that my vote was to do the 40 stitches.
But it's going to look so much wider. It's going to be about 1.5 inches wider.
But the thing is that I'm not convinced about that because my crochet, as I build up on my rows, reduces in width. So that's not her experience, that would be mine. So I would have went with the 40 stitches.
Listen, the longer I crochet on something, the lazier my stitches get. And they just tend to go... So...
That's what blocking is for.
Yeah, they still look like she tried to
I'm
straighten
here
me.
because you forced me.
Yeah, exactly. I got that vibe of I'm just here because I was forced in this position. Really, I'm a side sleeper. I'm just.
I want to be towards the other side. I want to be hanging out with the other stitches.
So yeah, decision paralysis. Maybe I might wait when Mom goes back home to continue it, so she doesn't know what I did, and therefore she doesn't feel like.
But I actually would have liked her to be able to work more on it so I could see more of it because I really like the way it looks. I really like it. And I actually like that top, the design, because I think it's very versatile. You can do a lot of things, small changes here and there, and you can make it,
and it really
look different.
Makes a big difference. So the top is designed to have negative ease around the waistband so that your panels are blousier. But if you decide to go with no ease, which is, or maybe 1 inch of negative ease only, then it's going to look more like a t-shirt than a blousey top. And of course you can decide to make it
very open here for cleavage, or sew it up a little bit more. And she even gives you like a design where you can join the 2 pieces.
Yeah, so you can do the lace, which I won't have enough yarn to actually do the lace that names the top. The Friendship Has Lace Borders top. So please, if you attempt this top, start with at least 200 grams of yarn.
I probably have chartreuse yarn at home. Like in the, what they call the Halloween ghost color, it's a ghost green.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know how good it's going to look with that.
So that's the thing, this green yarn is very bouncy because it is from Anna of Stitchcraft and Wizardry. And I find that the Australian merino yarn that she sources is very lush, very bouncy, very buttery, which is very different from other fingering weight yarns.
Or merino.
That I have. Merino, this is merino.
Oh, but it's Australian
merino. Yeah, it's just,
so
it has a different bounce
different from the
to it.
American merino.
Or the ones that you find where it's like very, very thin fingering weight. That one's not
and not bouncy at all.
But these are our summer makes. These are the things we like to do in the summer.
Intentions.
Our summer intentions for December, because technically we already passed the halfway mark of the year. It's June. So yeah, we hope that you get a little bit of inspiration from this. We hope you share with us down below what are the things you like to do in the summer to encourage more crafty time. Maybe you switch crafts during the year and you have a craft for winter, a craft for spring, a craft for summer. I think that's really fun, actually. It's a really good idea because then it you never get tired, right? You always have something to do. And if you have read any sci-fi romance novels,
not necessarily saucy, but
not necessarily saucy, but if you've read for this year's Cal, then definitely let us know in the comment section below, or you can hold all those comments for the live, which Claudia and I are planning to do on the 13th of August, which is a Sunday. Now, I'm excited for the live, but I also know that we have viewers that are from Australia and in Germany, so the time coordination will be harsh. Especially because the first thing we need to coordinate is that Claudia's on Pacific time and I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so there's that.
Yeah, it's hard to join in vivo, but it's hard to join live for everybody, but it's always recorded and you can always see it after the fact and still comment on that.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us here today for this very special mom and daughter chat about decision paralysis, summertime sadness.
Crafting in the summer, getting ready for winter.
Yeah. So
And keep it busy, basically.
yeah, basically disassociating just fine. Happy crafting, guys. Bye. Okay, I should be able to